Hi, it's time for another Mail Call Monday. So I've got 3 boxes here. These are left over from the last ones that we didn't get to because we had all of that apartment house stuff and i600 intercom stuff come in, and that took a long time to get through. And so I've got these 3, so let's get to it. It's Monday morning, lots of things to do today. So this first one, it came in from a fellow also named Christopher. What do you know? He's in Portland, Oregon. And let's go ahead and see what he sent in. Cut through the label. A bunch of bubble wrap. Oh, interesting. All right. We've got a mysterious trim plate here. Put that off over there. This out. This is once again something that most people have never ever seen before, probably. It's a chime. And this is a rather unusual chime. We'll put the cover plate on here. It goes like this. So what we have here is, this is a NuTone. It's a model K40, and it's called the name of the chime is a symphonic, and the symphonic belongs to an unusual group of NuTone door chimes. They could be wall mounted, but they were also designed to be like tabletop chimes or mantle chimes or would sit on the shelf kinds of chimes. And so these belong to a sort of unusual class of chimes, and you don't see them very often. I know that they were available, I believe that as near as I can tell, there isn't a lot of information about these, and the earliest advertisement for this particular chime that I've ever seen is from 1948. So I think these were the original post-World War II door chimes of the day. And these were made for a fairly long period of time. If we go ahead and take the cover back off, on the back of the inside of the cover, we have a wiring diagram that shows how it gets connected up, and it's got these 2 little openings here at the bottom. They're supposed to both have rubber grommets, and they sit on the sort of pointy posts here at the bottom of the case. And then there's a little locking tab here, and it fits in the little receptacle there. So if we put that off to the side, these came in a variety of different finishes. This is sort of a lighter faux wood grain look with this sort of starburst pattern here in the center. There were other medallions that they used over time, and a lot of these, the finish on the front cover was a dark color. In fact, I think I have one of those somewhere. So what we have here on the base, it's sort of an old school NuTone base where we've got the Telecron motor assembly here, and then this is a 4-note or a 4 or 8-note 4-plunger chime. So you have a solenoid assembly here and here and here and here, and then our terminal strip here is here in the center for wiring up. This particular chime is dated March 1955, and it actually says on the base it's the model K41. So perhaps they updated the model number when they made changes to the chime, or maybe different finishes had different model numbers. I'm not really sure because there's not a lot of information about these. So we have 4 tone bars. And then we have these long brass resonating tubes here on either side. There's cutouts in the tubes here and here and here and here, and that lets the sound from the vibrations from the tone bars resonate into them, and that amplifies the sound. We've got a nice brass finish base here. It says NuTone on the front, and there's a volume control here. It's one of the sliding ones. So this is very much a mid-50s. This shares a lot of design aspects with the mid-50s K model chimes, and that would kind of make sense. If you look here on the back, you can see the rheostat, and there's a plate that covers the contact board assembly, which regulates the operation of the chime. See, there is a keyway slot here at the top, so it could be hung on the wall if you wanted to, and I suppose that would be one way to go, but it was also designed where it could sit on a tabletop or something like that. So this is a good find. It looks like it's in halfway complete. It's halfway complete. This solenoid's missing a plunger. This one I can't tell because this cover plate's in the way. These up here, someone has put electrical tape on the ends because the rubber caps have fallen off. So it's pretty typical for a chime of this age. It's in pretty good shape. So I don't know what I'll do with it exactly, but it's a nice one to have around. I've gotten these in before where they're in pretty poor shape, and sometimes those become parts units to repair other ones. So that was a really nice thing to have sent in, and I thank Christopher for doing that. Next up is a box. It came from Taylor, and Taylor is in Canada. I'm not sure where in Canada. It just says Canada. I'm not sure why it doesn't have a state code. But anyway, let's go ahead and open this one up. We've got some foam pack and an item in some green shrink wrap. Throw the box on the floor because that's what we do. Let's go ahead and get the scissors and cut it carefully. You got to be careful because sometimes you've got things with wires and you don't want to cut through the wires with a knife or even with the scissors. The shrink wrap stuff is pretty tough. It's got some bubble wrap under it too. It's wrapped up really well, which is good. I've got a video I'm going to do shortly. It's about shipping Intercom master stations in for repair, and I've got a classic example of what not to do. So let's go ahead and get this off. Throw that on the floor. It's in a plastic bag, which is nice. And what we have here is it's a K model chime base. So it seems to be a chime day today. This is a mid-50s chime base, and you can tell that because the 4 and 8 note selector switch, instead of being down here on the hole, having a toggle switch there, it's the style with the lever switch up here above the motor assembly. And we have a plunger and a cap that fell out. Put that back on for now. Seems to be in fairly complete. I think most of the plungers are in there. This will go on the shelf. I've actually been collecting these. This is from it says on the back, I don't know if you can see that or not, right there. It says it's from a model K46, which I believe is a Jefferson, and it's probably, if it's got a date code, it looks to me like it's 1957, which would be right for the style. So I've been collecting these more and more. I've got building up a pretty good supply of them for miscellaneous parts, and when you can get them for the right price, it's definitely a good thing to do. You'll notice some of the similarities in design to the K41 we just looked at. Here we have our volume control with the rheostat assembly on the back. So it's very similar, very age appropriate compared to the K41. So I appreciate that from Taylor. So our last one this morning, this is not something that someone sent to me. This is something that I sent away for, and been waiting for them to come in, and they came in I guess it was a couple weeks ago, and this is the first chance I've had to get to it. This is a box of something that's important to us, and it comes from the J.B. Jones Spring Company in Newport, Kentucky. And I can tell you who it's from like that because they're a regular business. They've been in business, as I understand it, for more than 100 years. If we open it up, we've got some paperwork, which I'm not going to show you, and some more paperwork. It's a sales order. That meant we bought something from them. And let's take a look at what we got inside. Oh wait, well I can show you like this. We've got a bunch of plastic bags, but they don't make plastic bags, they make springs. So what we've got here is a box full of springs. Yep. Targeting is off. There they are. Bags and bags and bags of springs. This is something they returned to me. We'll take out and let's take a look. So what we've got here is, I'll show you what they returned to me first, and we'll talk about what's in the bags. This is a solenoid assembly out of a NuTone K model chime, and this is actually a complete assembly. It's got one of our new replacement caps on the back, and there's a plunger and spring assembly inside. And I sent this to them along with this. This is an original NuTone K model spring out of the solenoid assembly, and this was the most perfect one that I could possibly find to send to them as a sample. And what they did for me was we sent them these parts to verify that what they were going to make for us would be correct and work properly, and it did, and it does. And what they made for us was replacement springs for NuTone K model door chimes. And what we have here are 1,000 springs. Each of these bags contains 100 springs. So let's put 900 of our springs off to the side. I now have more K model door chime springs than probably anybody else on the planet. Let's go ahead and open this up. See if we can get one out. This is tricky because they sort of get wound together, and it's a little hard to get them apart sometimes. So right here, see if we can focus. Whoops, see, that's what springs do. They like to fall on the floor a lot. Let's try that again. So right here we have a newly manufactured, period correct, technically correct NuTone K model plunger spring assembly. And these were made specifically to copy the original springs, and these are made out of stainless steel. Everyone felt that was the best choice for reproduction springs because they won't corrode and they're resistant to breaking, and they are exactly the right size with exactly the right number of coils, with exactly the right number of dead coils on each end, and the compression rate is exactly the same as the original ones. And having springs like this is a real luxury because a lot of the chimes we get in, for instance the two chimes you just saw, oftentimes they're missing springs, or the springs are stretched or collapsed or bent, and trying to straighten them out and reuse them is a real chore, and it doesn't usually work very well. And now we have, this back in here, we have sacks and sacks of springs. In fact, we have 1,000 springs, possibly a lifetime supply, more than anybody else. Anyway, I'm all excited about it. I hope other people will be too. So that's mail call for today. We've had 3 interesting items. I guess it was all about door chimes today. I appreciate the chime from Christopher and the chime from Taylor, and I especially appreciate the Taylor Spring Company making me 1,000 springs. Pretty cool. So if you like these kind of videos, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube because that always helps. If you like our YouTube channel and you learn things from it and find it interesting, please subscribe. There'll be a banner right here that shows you how to subscribe. That's all for today. See you on the next video.